Don't scroll. This happened in a remote village in Turkey, and it left one boy unable to speak ever again. Before I start, hit the like button so this story reaches more people. And comment if you've ever heard something unexplainable in the dark. And if you're new here, subscribe. This one is disturbing. It happened last summer. My cousin and I were staying in our grandparents' village, the kind of place where nights are so quiet. You can hear the wind slip between the trees. Around 1:30 a.m. we slipped out of the house, not to do anything bad, just to walk, talk, and enjoy the cool air without waking anyone. We walked nearly 2 kilometers into the forest, following a path villagers rarely used anymore. But halfway through our walk, the sky cracked open with thunder and rain began pouring so fast we couldn't see the path in front of us. Running back to the village wasn't an option, not because someone would see us, but because the narrow cliffside path becomes deadly when wet. People have slipped there before, so we looked for shelter. That's when my cousin noticed a faint, flickering light coming from an old abandoned house uphill, a place everyone avoided. The house looked dead from the outside. The roof caved in on one side, wood rotten, windows shattered. No one had lived there for decades. But inside, a single dim, warm glow, like someone was carrying a candle. My cousin froze. It wasn't there earlier, he whispered. But the rain was too heavy. We had no choice. We ran toward the house and stepped inside. The smell of wet wood and mold hit us immediately. But at least the roof above us was mostly intact. We shook the water off our clothes, laughing nervously, until my cousin's face suddenly went pale. Did you hear that? I didn't. At least not yet. At first I thought he was imagining things. We were tired, cold, and soaking wet. But then, from beneath the floorboards, deep, muffled, broken, a woman's cry, not a scream, not a shout, a slow, aching sob, like someone grieving, like someone who had lost everything. My cousin grabbed my arm. "Let's go," he whispered. But the rain hitting the walls was so loud, and the crying was somehow getting clearer, almost as if the person was moving closer from beneath the house. There was a door at the end of the hallway, old, swollen from humidity, barely hanging on its hinges. The crying was coming from behind it. My cousin refused to go near it. He kept shaking his head, whispering, "No, no, no." But curiosity has a strange power over fear, and something in that crying felt human. So I stepped forward while he stayed near the entrance. I put my hand on the doorknob. It felt ice cold. When I pushed it open, a damp, earthy smell rushed out, like soil mixed with decaying wood. And then I saw her. She wasn't facing me. She sat on the dirt floor, her dress soaked, her hair covering her face. Her shoulders shook with every breathless sob. I froze. This wasn't a ghost story. This looked like an actual person who had been hurt or trapped. I whispered, "Are you okay?" She stopped crying instantly, not slowly, instantly, like someone hit pause on a recording. The silence was worse than the crying. Then, very slowly, she turned her head toward me, not unnaturally, not in a supernatural twist, but the way she moved was wrong. It was stiff, trembling, as if her neck had been injured long ago. And her face, it wasn't monstrous, it wasn't demonic. It looked like someone who had been beaten for years, swollen, bruised, eyes red from endless crying. But the way she stared at me was empty, like she wasn't really looking at me, but through me. That was when fear finally broke through curiosity. I ran. I burst out of the basement and sprinted toward the exit. But my cousin wasn't there. His footsteps were still wet on the floor. He had run earlier. I followed the trail outside, ran through the rain, slipped on the muddy path, and didn't stop until the village lights appeared ahead. I went straight to bed, trembling, listening for any sound that didn't belong. 20 minutes later, I heard slow, shaky footsteps in the hallway. It was my cousin. His clothes were drenched, his lips were blue. He was shivering uncontrollably. When I tried talking to him, he didn't react. He didn't look at me. He stared past me, with the same empty expression the woman had. We rushed him to a hospital the next day, but he never spoke again. Not one word. Doctors said it was trauma, something so terrifying that his mind simply shut down. If you want more real stories from villages, forests, and forgotten places, hit the like button. And make sure you subscribe because I share new terrifying stories every week. This was The Crying Woman.